I don't know. I don't
Right.
know.
So I'm just trying to figure out what it is that, and please understand that this conversation is not to come down on anybody. It's to
Of
make us
course,
better, right?
of course.
Trying to make better. And what we're in this community, we promote playing in the field. Doing we talked about promoting the music. We talked about promoting, the over sexualized women, sleeping. Now we're talking about this aspect of it. And men are, I know black men are a little different. Men are men, but every other man doesn't have a problem with marrying in their 20s, but we do. So are you saying that black men are just different thinkers or different people than other men?
No, hell no. I think that unless you're in a very strict culture, I think that it's the same experience. White boys are definitely just as promiscuous as black men, black boys. White women are just as promiscuous as white women. Now, it may be different if you're a Muslim, you know what I'm saying, where that shit is an absolute no-go. You know what I'm saying? If you own that, is going to be dire consequences. But in a culture um of where that's, sex is easy. You know what I'm saying? So in a culture of where sex is easy, hell yeah, that's gonna happen all day. If you in college, everybody having sex with everybody in
Everybody not going
college.
to college though. You keep saying college. I keep telling you outside of college. But the thing about it is, at the end of the day, what sets them apart from us? You're right. I think all men are promiscuous. I think all men have that thing. They have that animal instinct. Some of them may do, but what do you think that the
And women.
difference is between the two in women? So what do you think the difference between what they are doing and what we're doing? Out of
uh,
all the what are they doing different than we're doing that they don't they're not looked at the same way. It's not looked at it's looked at differently than how we do it.
I think that the difference is that it's happening behind closed doors.
I think the difference is they're not creating baby mamas.
They are creating
I think
baby
that's the
mamas.
difference. So not at the rate that we are is what I'm saying. So what happens is, you can be just in general, like a girl, if she's sleeping around or whatever, nobody will really know until she ends up pregnant, right? Or knows that she's having sex until she ends up pregnant, right?
Depending
So
on
it
depending on how
ties
she carry herself.
my point is, she don't even have to be sleeping around. Let me just say, the fact that she's having sex, nobody would know that she's having sex until, right, she's pregnant. And then you're like, oh, now she was having sex. So my point
So you saying
is
that
not
don't happen
that.
with men?
Listen,
No, that
hold
does
on.
happen.
Finish. What I'm saying is, now you're exposed. Once she's pregnant, what she's doing is exposed. So, what I'm saying in terms of black men and white men sleeping around, both of them are doing it, right? Like we said, it's just a man's nature to want to have sex, right? But I think the difference is that we're exposed because we're getting pregnant. So that's on the forefront of everything. Everybody sees what we're doing versus in their culture, they will put their girls on birth control very early. So they can minimize, not saying that
Or or even have an abortion.
that or that too, but we do that too. So that's not the issue. What I'm saying is they are able to hide, not necessarily hide behind closed doors, but hide based on using protection and birth control and stuff like that. So they're not exposed, whereas we don't utilize those same things. But one of the other things that I do want to say, in terms of changing the narrative, is, we do talk about single moms in our community and all of that kind of stuff. But I definitely want to point out the fact that most Black people live in households that are headed by married couples. Now, I did not know that. I'm not going to lie, because we keep being fed the narrative that, everybody's growing up in single households. But as of the data from 2022, and remember, AP was like, oh, wow, and I actually sent it to him, is that most of us, or well, yeah, most Black people are actually in households that are headed by married couples. So I think that is important to point out, and hope that that starts to become the new narrative, as opposed to the all the single mamas and the dads aren't there, and
well, yeah, but what
You know what I think that is? I hate to be this guy to say this, but
go ahead.
okay.
Black people always filing somebody else's kids on their taxes.
Well, not even that. No. You know, it's not even that. But
I'm just
if you look at the stats, it says 70% of Black kids are born into a single mother household. It didn't say 70% of Black women are. It says 70%. That means that Bunquisha, well, let me not even use the name. So and so may have 10 kids, but each one of those kids is included in the 70%. Does that make sense? It's coming from the kid aspect, not from the parents. Because I read that motherhood is actually going down. People just opting out not to have children, period.
Mm-hmm.
And that's
I'm
why
not
abortions
supposed
are
to
high.
And that's men and women.
Yeah, that's why abortions are high.
I want to just real quick. I was on a panel with Rilla earlier, and I'd like to get his perspective on the last two topics. He's been kind of quiet for the last 30-ish minutes.
So, well, in reference to what?
I got to handle mine, so I don't know what y'all talking about right now.
Yeah, I'm just listening, man. I'm listening. I think.
And it's
go ahead.
so crazy because you guys have, and let me just speak because I want to amp you guys up. You guys have all made that move to make a woman out of the women that you're with, right? That's a big people. I think men underestimate and I know women have made it bad in these streets. Some women have used this, they have not been great wives, they have not come and done their part. There are things that have happened where these places are successful. But I want to commend every man on this panel for saying, you know what, this is the woman. I want to make the woman out of this woman, and I want to, do it the right way and move forward. But go ahead, AP.
That's how you change the narrative.
Well, more in respect for Rilla and what Shan's the conversation she had with her friend, what he thought of Black men. Do you see that as the narrative that's being pushed out?
Yeah, but again, I think that's why I say some of the stuff we're in crucible right now. We are looking at the changing of the guard, whether you want to accept it or not, believe it or not. That's why I keep asking, what age group are we talking about? So what he's saying, or what the perception is, would apply, I think, for the boomer generation, and Generation X, right? Although Generation X, I believe, and I'm Generation X, we tried to correct and sometimes overcorrect. But that perception in terms of imagery and everything else was not of us being in the homes and with our families. It's still us not being there to provide for our families. And here's the other thing. You know what somebody in these streets would say to his talking point? They'll say, well, 80% of divorces are filed for by women. It makes no difference why those divorces are happening or why you are or are not in the home. The image that we don't control is that you are not in the home. So I don't disagree with it. It's just sometimes those truths are hard to swallow. Just like yeah, they're hard to take at face value until you remove the emotion out of it and address what is. Then you can begin to problem solve for it.